Hello, Los Angeles family. Good to see you. I am coming to you from Korea, South Korea, where we've been staying here in Seoul for the last week. My wife and I, Takayo, and we are excited to share with you just some of the inspiration that we've received being here. Very grateful that you guys would allow us to be here for this past week and to be close to Mother Moon, True Mother, our founder, and also be close to all the providential activities that are taking place here. So I thought that I could share this sermon or this message in the form of also a testimony of my personal experience being here and what we've witnessed and what we've been able to touch and taste and feel, and especially what is on Mother Moon's heart, which is one of the bigger reasons of why we always strive to come, even at it was really difficult actually to leave Los Angeles for us this time, knowing that there's so much that needs to be done and in Los Angeles, and so many of your own hearts and your families that we wish we could be with, but we know that we have to come to Korea in order to touch and taste and feel and understand deeply Mother's heart, and that's really the only authority that we come with as pastors, co-pastors, and all that we do. So I thank you for giving us the space to be able to do that, and I hope that this message in some way can inspire you and help you to grow closer as well, inheriting what we're able to receive here. And so very exciting, and a number of things have taken place. Of course, just today, by the way, I'm filming this maybe an hour before you see it. So just today we held the blessing ceremony in the morning. And then right after that, also celebrating True Mother's 80th birthday. And then right after that, we took a bus and we went to the Cheonwon Gung for the opening of the Cheonwon Sanctum, the new and final temple that Mother is making in the Cheonwon complex, or we used to call it Cheonpyeong. So it's a lot of words, so if you're brand new, don't worry. It's just an area that Father and Mother Moon have been developing over the last few decades to create a substantial Garden of Eden for the world to come to and experience God's love. That's all they wanted to do here. And it also just happens to be where our international activities are taking place and where Father and Mother Moon reside. And so we are able to visit their final temple that they built, which was reflective of the Temple of Solomon of old, to be a place where God could dwell and live and directly work in the earth today. So it was an amazing experience, a lot. But even before then, actually, regarding the blessing, we had so many couples from Los Angeles. In total, we had 10 couples from Los Angeles blessed. Some of them in Vegas, some of them here in Korea. And congratulations to all those couples. And I'm just gonna flash some pictures of those couples on the screen that I was able to take photos of or take photos with. It was chaos, so I didn't get a chance to see everybody. But congratulations to those couples. You have an exciting journey ahead of you. Takayo and I were blessed 3 years ago, also in Korea, and our lives completely changed ever since then. There's a lot for that testimony, but I won't go there. Congratulations to those couples. But before even the blessing, Takayo and I had the honor and the pleasure to serve as staff taking care of the Clergy Delegation of Christian pastors who came from America, representing ACLC, WCLC, and for me particularly YCLC, the Young Christian Leadership Conference, which is I direct nationally on top of Los Angeles Family Church pastorship. So we had a chance to gather. YCLC had 22 people join us, and about 13 of them were young clergy from around the nation, which is really exciting. First time that we've ever brought a substantial number of younger ministers since 1980s, since the 1980s. So some of you know Dr. Mark Abernathy, some of you know Bishop Jesse Edwards, or actually it was Dr. Tanya Edwards at that time, who in the 1980s, or Pastor T.O. Barrett in the 1980s came to Korea when they were young. They were actually in their 30s when they came. And that was the type of groups of people that we brought this time. Actually, Dr. Abernathy was 18 years old, 17 or 18 years old. So we're bringing a new wave of people to come to Korea to experience that. So we had a chance to serve as staff. And guys, I'll just be honest, serving as staff is really, it's an honor, it's a pleasure, yet at the same time, it's so stressful. It's at times very painful. There was many moments where Takayo and I and Reverend Jackson and Yuka Shimada were just sitting at the table, just eyes dead because of a challenge that we're faced with, and feeling like maybe, like sometimes I feel nowhere near like this to the gravity, but sometimes I feel like Jesus is just like, God, why have you forsaken us? Like, why are we going through this? Always there's a reason, of course. We go through the struggle, we go through the pain, the challenge. There's a deep reason, there's a deeper purpose. And so just a little bit about our experience in this past week with the clergy before I go into some of these deeper topics about where we're headed as a movement and the things that took place today. Just this past week was amazing for those clergy. I had a chance to, of course, bring those younger clergy who've never experienced Korea, never experienced Mother Moon in person, never experienced actually the teachings of the principle in its, in its directness, and they received it. They received it here. And so for this past week, we, on the first day, what we did was, and I'll show us some photos of this. I wanted the YCLC to experience culture. It's one way to open their hearts to receive something more amazing. And so we scheduled with Yuka and I, we reserved a chance for them to put on hanboks and wear traditional Korean clothing that the royalty or the elders would wear. And we had them dress in the hanboks and then go around the palace and have an experience of culture that way. And that was so enlightening for many of them. They were so appreciative. Some of them told me afterwards, if this was the only thing we did and we went home, I'd be satisfied. I was like, hallelujah. They were so, because, many of them, one of them, for example, from Los Angeles, he was telling me later that, you don't know how honored I feel. I'm just a young guy. This is Pastor Johnson. He said, I'm just a young guy in LA, and you brought him out, and you're able to show him the world. And I'm just grateful for that. So that was moved. And then we took him to the Nande Moon Market. For those that know, it's like not a night market, but it's an outdoor market, and people questioning what these foods are, what they're looking at, but it was so special. Then the next day we had the opening plenary. Everyone started to come, and then the following day we had the opening plenary where we were able to receive Mother here in Seoul, where she opened up the peace summit that took place. And some of her words were really tremendous, and this was, of course, the first time for many of them to receive Mother. And it was challenging because they gave us seats, and then they were trying to get us out of those seats and all this fiasco, and a lot of people felt very disrespected. Some people stood for 3 hours just because of all this. But despite all that, people were so grateful, and the testimonies were incredible. One sister, she was looking at Mother, and she just started crying. And this is her first time ever, seeing her. And she was crying, and she was saying, she looks like she's in so much pain. She looks like she needs to be comforted and hugged. And I expected her to come on stage and be beaming and joyful. And what I witnessed was someone who's carrying the burden of the world. And she just started crying, seeing this kind of revelation. Actually, she had this vision that, she's carrying the world, and we're meant to carry her. And this is just a young Christian leader. She's a prophetess, and she's just having this revelation about Mother, and this conviction that we're responsible to help her continue her mission. And she couldn't be more spot on, totally. Like, if you were to really think about what is true Mother, Mother Moon's hope, and therefore also her pain, it would be what's going to happen when I pass, or in the time that I have left, what do we do? And then when I'm gone, how will this mission continue? That must be her greatest burden, because that's God's kingdom we're talking about. And actually, the conclusion, if you get nothing else out of this report, is what I feel most of all, is that we are responsible to build God's kingdom. That's our responsibility more than, that's our fundamental for everything we do, from the blessing to the principle to the community that we built. The whole idea is that we're building God's kingdom. In the Bible, it says, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and the rest shall be added unto you." So we seek first God's kingdom. And so Mother Moon carries that burden. I was like, how are we going to reach that kingdom? Even if I pass, how do we reach it? In substance, not just proclaiming it. She always says this, not just proclaiming, but in substance. How do we get there? And so she's doing whatever it takes. And so they have these testimonies. It wasn't just her. There was like a number of other people who were crying, just experiencing Mother's pain. And these are not Unification Church members. I need you to understand, this is not second generation like myself or Takayo. It's not, it's not first generation. It's literally Christian pastors experiencing heaven's message through Mother, heaven's heart through Mother. So that should be an affirmation of your own faith, really. That's what I've always felt with these pastors when they receive these revelations and they realize, oh, this lady is not just a peacemaker. This lady has heaven's direct heart. I realize it's an affirmation of what we believe, what we're standing for. It's so much bigger than even we realize. So, yeah, amazing testimonies came out of that, and it was an amazing day, and Mother's words on that day were powerful. One of the things that I picked out that I thought was so amazing was towards the end of her speech, she says, "Let us join hands, join our hearts, and solve the problems afflicting humanity today. Not just relying on our own ideas, but uniting with God. By uniting with God, we will find a better future." That's one of her concluding statements. And I find that always to be so profound because of who she's speaking to. Mother is not speaking to church members. She's speaking to world leaders. And I tell you, you had the primary, liaison to Prime Minister Hun Sen was there. You also had key prime ministers from around the Asia Pacific and African regions. You had Mike Pompeo, who was our Secretary of State in the previous term of President Trump, and a number of other key leaders there. And what does she say to them? It's like, let's join hands, join our hearts, solve the problems of humanity, but not on our own ideas, but by uniting with God's idea, God's heart, God's wish, and then we can build the future. In the Bible, it describes how the role of prophets or religious leaders, or the role of Jesus Christ, was to be an educator to those who were in power. Mother Moon doesn't have that political position. She doesn't have even that economic position that some of them have. But she has to teach them the direction according to God's desire. And that is, what she just shared. We join hands, we join hearts, we solve the problems, but not by our own ideas, but by God's. Aju, amazing. I mean, Mother's amazing. And so the clergy went from there to what we did next, which was really the breakthrough, which is we held a 2-day Divine Principle seminar with Korean Christian pastors. Hopefully I have some photos of that. And we gathered Korean Christian pastors, about 20 to 25 of them joined us. This is the first time since also 1980 that our movement has made an attempt to teach Korean Christian pastors the divine principle. Please allow that to soak in. The primary persecutor of Father and Mother Moon has been Korean Christianity since the very beginning. The reason they came to America in the first place was because they were trying to restore Korean Christianity, because Korean Christianity could not receive them in Korea, in the homeland. So they had to go to the source, which was American Christianity. And we've never really had a route since way back in the day to effectively organize education. Of course, there's been education here and there, but never in this manner. This is the first time we held a substantial workshop with Korean Christian pastors who are actually in positions of leadership. So much so that they could not even take a public photo with us. All those photos that I actually cannot show you any public photos in this video of them. I don't have the permission to do so. They're there. I can show general photos, but nothing where we would show their face. Why? Because they hold positions of leadership in the Presbyterian and United Methodist Church. And if they see those photos, they'll lose their jobs. They'll lose their positions. They know it too. But they're taking they're taking such a tremendous risk to stand with true parents. And they were soaking it in. Gosh, I wish you guys could have seen the way they were taking notes when Dr. Abernathy was teaching the principle of creation. The way that they were discussing after they heard the mission of the Messiah. We gave them the mission of the Messiah. It was just that content that Jesus was meant to build a family, find a wife, and have children. Well, if that's news to some of you, oh wow, I mean, God bless. But that's the truth. This is the truth, and we're not afraid of it. This is our truth. And the principle can run circles around you on why that's true. But they were receiving it, and they were really sinking it in. They were receiving it better than some of our American clergy. Actually, it was a little bit of a frustration because some of our own didn't believe it, but they were believing it. It's like, wow, like how prepared Korean Christianity is to receive this, and actually how thirsty they were for it. They were so thirsty for it. Father talks about how people need to receive a new word from heaven, and it quenches our thirst. And I feel like Korean Christianity has been seeking it and has been walking through the desert because they haven't had the opportunity. Finally the door has been pushed open. And yes, we have to be private about it, but it's a victory. Guys, this is a victory. And I know it's through our prayer and our devotion that becomes possible. So I thank you all so much for that. So from there, we went, we did many other programs. It was an amazing experience. And then one of the biggest things we did was we had a chance to tour the Cheonwon area, give people a chance to go to the Cheonwon Gung, which was amazing. You would think, I always get nervous when I take people to the Cheonwon Gung. What are they going to think about this palace? If anyone's ever seen a photo, it's pretty grand. And there's a lot in there that is challenging. And I'm always impressed when people come through it. They're just like, wow. I just feel God's presence here, especially the Christian pastors. Like, this is amazing. So then the final day, full day together, we went to the DMZ. We had a chance to pray at the DMZ. And I want to share something that, actually, this was one of the most painful moments of my trip, personally. And that was bringing these pastors to the DMZ. And we've been there a number of times to pray as CARP or other organizations. And usually, it's quite a venerable space where it really honors the reality of what's going on. Imjimgak is the location, and it honors the reality of division and the pain of the loss of families, or just the division of a family of people. And I was so hurt because when we went there, and Takayo and I, when we got there, it was like what they had done to Imjimgak, to the DMZ area, is they turned it into a theme park. And it was just like a bunch of, there was roller coaster rides over here. They created a bunch of restaurants, and they created a gondola so people could just, enjoy. It's almost like a ski resort kind of looking place. And then all these, more venerable locations that really honored unity were kind of pushed to the side, almost covered. It's like people don't see them. And even some of those locations were blocked off now. And it's like, those things are cut off from people. People can't touch the spirit of that place anymore. And it used to be free to even walk through those areas. Now you have to just like pay. It's like a paywall for everything you do. And it's just money, 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 just to make money out of this place. And that really broke my heart. Just to be frank with you guys, I mean, we're Los Angeles. We're honest people. It was disgusting. It hurt so much. It left me disgusted. Because I felt like whoever had created this had lost touch of what has broken God's heart for so long. Yeah, God cannot reside in division. In Korea, being a divided nation has been the pain of our movement that we've carried. Because we know that it's God's homeland. Because Father and Mother Moon were born there. And we believe it's been chosen. Chosan. It's been chosen as a nation. To be where God can build his homeland substantially, the Cheonwon, right? This kingdom that we long for, and they're making a cash grab out of it, and they made an entertainment piece out of it, and it broke my heart, and I realized in that moment just how much prayer is needed, how much of our what we call JeongSeong, our sincere devotion in Korean. That people would not forget, what we're fighting for. People won't forget what God's dream really is. And, I in a way have to take responsibility for that. Someone asked me, is it possible? A lot of people were not happy, right? And someone came up to me, a brother, and he was just like, Josh, what would it take to kick all these things out? I said, well, legally we can't do that. What it would take is a total upheaval. It would take a total reversal of heart of those within leadership in the nation. They would have to totally realign their heart to get rid of all these businesses and make this place truly a place of honor again. And the only way that's possible is if we accomplish our mission, really. And so here's what I want to conclude with on that note. Is the point of all this. And this is what I felt during the blessing. It's what I felt when I went to the Cheonwon Gung. So I'll show some photos of this as I talk about it. But we brought the clergy there. And of course, Takayo and I had a chance to run around and say hi to so many beautiful couples. And it was amazing. And so, I was deeply moved by the blessing vows this time. I was particularly moved by how Mother Moon conveyed those vows. So for those that are receiving the blessing, received it, and you see this, or really it's important for us to understand what you vowed. Maybe you didn't realize it. I'm sorry. Maybe you didn't realize this was the vow, and I actually think it's the vow of every blessing that's ever taken place. A blessing of marriage with true parents as the officiator. And that's, she says this, what we long for are ideal families who seek the realization of God's kingdom. That's the vow, to become ideal families who seek the realization of God's kingdom. Now, there's two pieces to that. One is ideal families. We have to build in substance good families, great families, happy families, true families. And I think we can do a whole lot better in that area. Breakthroughs in our families, absolutely necessity for us to stand as blessed central couples, blessed central families. We have to seek. I know we've had a lot of pain in the past, but we can mend. All pain can be healed. And all of those things we can experience breakthrough. It can happen. Absolutely possible. Now, that's the one side of it. The other side of it is what we do, why we do. And that is to seek the realization of God's kingdom of Cheonwon. Is that the purpose of our blessing is that we become true, but it's for the purpose of building something bigger than our own family. It's the building of God's kingdom. It's a dream that true parents long for, that we hope to arrive at. And and that we can see it in substance. It's not something we proclaim and we dance around and we sing these songs. We have these anthems, but it's something that we can tangibly touch and we can live inside. And this world wouldn't suffer anymore, and people wouldn't hurt their hearts of other people anymore. They wouldn't misuse money anymore. They wouldn't commit adulterous deeds and hurt hearts even more. It would be a place where God can reside. God can be the parent. God can be the teacher. God can be the owner of this universe. Amen. That's the blessing. And I was so moved by that when I heard Mother say that. It's like, I really hope, this is my prayer, it's like I hope all 8,000 couples around the world know that this is what they're vowing to do. And this is what we are called to do, folks. This is us as Los Angeles family. That's who we are. We build ideal families who seek God's kingdom. That's what we should do. And it's a lot, takes a lot, but it's exactly what we're being called to accomplish. It's why we stand in this community. And if you're new to this community, God bless you, because you'll find the purpose of your life in that statement. Ideal families who seek God's kingdom. You'll find your purpose. Not just purpose, you'll find the ideal. As you grow yourself individually to accomplish the purpose of creation, then you will find the ideal. This is an amazing dream. And then when we went to the Cheonwon Gung, it was once again, I felt it as I was there. As Mother's created this place. And for those that still are challenged by this idea of building another temple, it's not completed. To be honest, that was her first thing she said in her prayer. For those that watched the stream, and her prayer is, first of all, Heavenly Parent, I repent because it's not completed. We are dedicating it, but next year we will have it completely finished. And then we will do an official completion ceremony for it, 2024. So it needs a little more time. There was a lot of limitations. And she repented on behalf of everybody that it wasn't completed. And so she describes the Cheonwon Gung as the completion of heaven's providence and the consummation of human history. It's the dream of Heavenly Parent to be with, to reside with all the children of the world and in the kingdom of heaven. And so humanity must meet the true parents, receive heaven's blessing, and lead and build this kingdom. But the abode is a necessity. It's a place where God can reside and govern over this world. It's God's resting place, substantially here on this earth. And that is what this temple's design is. Now, when we look at it on a short-term basis, it might be challenging to see the necessity of that because we have Father and Mother Moon here, we have all these different things to connect. But when Mother Moon passes away, where are we going? We have the Cheonshimwon Prayer Hall, and we have this location to be our direct connection to Heavenly Parent. So she suggests that everyone should come to the Cheonwon Gung to learn, to see the truth, and also witness true parents' achievements and be grafted as God's children through the blessings so that they can live full, beautiful, and profound lives on earth. We need these types of locations in order that there can be a sanctified location for us to experience God. And so even if the rest of the world would deny God, there's still this place, this temple, this abode where God can reside on earth. And an amazing fruit can emerge from it. That's the whole idea, that from that point, God can do even greater things in this world. And if Mother Moon passes, there's no way anyone else would have the authority to build a location like this. She has to do it in her lifetime. It's her final temple, as Reverend Damien would call it. It has to be done now. So she's done it. So victory to God, victory to true parents, they did it. It was an amazing experience to walk into actually the sanctum. We had a chance to see it. And actually they created these artworks, these pieces of art that reflect the entirety of Father and Mother Moon's life course around it. It's beautiful, it's gorgeous, and they didn't let us take any photos because, again, things are not fully completed. And I felt when Takayo and I like walked into the place. It was like, wow, we're here. This is it. It's really a special place. And I hope when it's fully completed, everyone can come and experience it in person. In the meantime, we're outside and we're witnessing it and feeling it spiritually. And my conclusion is this, when I was there, is that everyone should go at some point, especially if there's going to be another launching where you actually can enter. And the world should enter to experience God's heart, to be where God resides. It's almost like it's the most 90-degree angle for God to reside substantially here on the earth. God's residing in all of us, but this is the most 90-degree, the most high noon place. But when I felt this, all these things, it's like, okay, all right, we have this place. Mother's doing it here. But in my concluding prayer before we left, my heart was just kind of bursting. It's just, wow, how much Mother still needs to see a greater victory in the world. When I see her face, I often feel like the clergy felt, that she's longing to see something more. That there's something that we're still yet not accomplishing. So as much as we can come and we bow and we offer our gifts and we do what we give our best, I still feel just whether, just I feel from her spiritually, we're still not where her hope is, of where we need to be with the timing that we have. Not much time left. And so she's built this place so that we can be reinvigorated to do what? So we may be reinvigorated to bring a victory for the kingdom. This is our purpose. We are here to build God's kingdom, and Mother needs that kingdom type victory in America. That's how I feel. I'm not going to ask of Africa. I'm not going to ask of South America. I live in America. So I'm actually not going to ask of anything outside of Los Angeles. God needs, true Mother needs a kingdom victory in Los Angeles. We have to bring that victory. We are building God's kingdom in LA. And we can do it. Actually, I think only we can do it. That's how serious I feel. Only us. Only Los Angeles Family Church can do it. We have to take 100% responsibility. I, as your pastor, as humble as I feel in that position, Takayo and I take full responsibility to build God's kingdom in Los Angeles. So that when Mother hears about LA, she says to the world, of course, that's the model. That's what I'm looking for. And so we're going to soak in as much as we can soak in while we're here. And all those that are with us in LA, from Los Angeles that are here, will soak in what we can soak in from the Cheonwon Sanctum, this abode for Heavenly Parent, Cheonwon Gung, and we'll soak it up so that we can go out and we can do what we need to do. So that next time I feel, when I see Mother, I said I wouldn't see Mother unless I'm truly proud, and I realize I'm still not there. I'm not proud of what I've been able to offer fully, and that's my repentance to you all. That's from my repentance to YCLC, to Kai and I know we both feel this way. We have so much more that we need to give, and we have to get back to the point of what we're doing. Ideal families seeking to build God's kingdom. And we do it, and we're serious about it in LA. So allow that, God, I pray that can resonate and marinate with all of us, and that we can join hands, like she's asked of those leaders. We can find those key, incredible leaders out there. We can pull them in, we join hands, and we solve the problems afflicting humanity today, not by our own ideas, but by uniting with God. And we cannot do it unless we're resonating with God's heart and God's living essence, and that's through the Cheonwon prayer hall that we have, and that we're building also one in Los Angeles, that we have in Las Vegas, and also through going to the Cheonwon Gung when you get the opportunity, whenever it's ready to be received by all of you, and also through aligning with Mother Moon's heart at this time. I believe she's got heaven all over her heart, and it's being affirmed by the Christian pastors themselves, and we do this together. So I thank you all. We're building God's kingdom. It's been an amazing experience here in Korea. Thank you all for allowing Takayo and I to be here. I miss you. We'll be back on the 12th, so we'll see you soon. God bless you. Victory to God. Victory to true parents. We'll see you. Thank you.